Namaskar. Today we will discuss the various techniques of preparatory process of textile material, which is the essential part of the processing. Without preparatory process, it is very difficult to achieve the desired result in dyeing, printing and finishing. So today we are going to talk about the textile substrates containing impurities, operations for removing these contaminations, and pre-treatments like singeing, desizing, scoring, and bleaching. The fabric, when it is collected from the weaving setup, cannot be used directly for manufacturing various textile products. There are a number of impurities present in the fabric such as dust, dirt, oil, stains, and wax, which are to be removed so as to get the natural coloring material. So these impurities are classified as natural impurities and added impurities. Natural impurities are present in the natural fiber in the form of oil, wax, vegetable matter, and dust particles. And wool sweat is also considered as the impurities which is deposited on the sheep or goat hair. The added impurities are manually added to the yarn or fiber during the manufacturing process. Sizing materials such as starches or polyvinyl alcohol are applied on the surface of the yarn. Spin finishes are added to synthetic yarns such as anti-static agents and lubricants. The main objectives of preparatory treatment of textile material are: first is to remove all the impurities, both natural and those added during production that may interfere in subsequent dyeing or finishing process. It is also required to improve the ability of the fibers to absorb water, dyes, solutions, and chemicals. And it is also given to impart proper brightness or whiteness to fabric according to the need, especially when brilliant or pastel shades are desired. All of these impurities cannot be removed by a single operation. It requires sequences of operations such as processing. All the operations before the dyeing of a fabric are known as preparatory process or pre-treatments. These pre-treatments include singeing, desizing, scoring, and bleaching. All of these operations have the specific objective, and it is not necessary to use all the operations to all the fabrics. It generally depends upon the type of a fabric and the end use of the fabric. Now let's discuss singeing. The term singe means to burn. The purpose of singeing is to burn off the protruding fibers and hair from the fabric surface. So during the weaving operations, warp yarns are passed through the yield wires and reed. It is continuously under friction during weaving process. Due to the continuous friction, yarn develop hairiness. This hairiness is undesirable in the fabric and provides an unpleasant feel to the fabric. So that is why singeing is done. The main objective of singeing is to remove the protruding fibers from both sides of the fabric, as it will provide smooth and even surface to the print. It will also reduce the pilling tendency, and it will also help in reducing the fuzzy appearance of the fabric. The fabric is passed through the singeing machine in open width, flat, and under tension. So there are basically three types of singeing machines. First one is plate singe machine. The second is roller singeing machine, and the last one is gas singeing machine. Next process is known as desizing. The sizes are added during the weaving preparatory process. Main objective of the sizing is to provide strength to the yarn. This improves the weaving efficiency by reducing the yarn breakage. After the weaving is completed, the sized material is undesirable in the fabric and it makes the fabric stiff and hydrophobic in nature. The main objective of desizing is removal of a starch from the fabric. For this purpose, the fabric is impregnated in the desized bath and stored for 8 to 12 hours. This bath contains required amount of enzyme, wetting agents, and sodium chloride. After this process, the fabric is thoroughly washed with hot water. Desizing can also be done with enzymes, and the process is basically eco-friendly and it is relatively expensive. Next is scoring. Scoring is the process to remove the natural impurities such as oil, wax, and residual size by the chemicals. So basically, when the yarn is made of natural fibers which contains natural oil and waxes, these oils and waxes make fabric hydrophobic and do not allow the dye and chemical to penetrate into the fabric. The scoring is cleaning treatment in which oil, waxes, and residual sizes are removed from the fabric by the chemicals, and after scoring, the fabric becomes absorbent in nature. There are two methods of scoring. First is alkali scoring and the other is solvent scoring. Alkali scoring is the mostly accepted process and sodium hydroxide is applied as an alkali. Next is bleaching. After scoring process, the fabric is free from oil and waxes. However, natural coloring matter are still present in the fiber. If this color is not removed at this stage, then it will be very difficult to attain the desired shade in the dyeing process. So the main objective of the bleaching process is the removal of natural coloring matter and to make the fabric white with minimum damage to the fiber and within the shortest possible time. There are basically two methods, two agents for bleaching. First is the oxidizing and the other one is reducing. Oxidizing agents produce active oxygen which is responsible for the bleaching action by destroying the coloring matter present in the textile material and leave them white. Whereas reducing bleaching agent destroy the coloring matter by reducive action. Commonly used reducing agents are sodium hydrosulfide, sodium bisulfide, and sodium thiosulfate. Reducing agents are not commonly used for the bleaching as white produced is not permanent. So far, we have discussed the preparatory processes for cotton fabric. Now we come to the woolen fabrics. The woolen fabrics undergo scoring followed by milling, carbonization, and neutralization before they are ready for dyeing. The hair in wool fibers are not removed by singeing because they leave hard residue. Wool fiber contains many vegetable impurities and carbonizing is a chemical treatment with 5 to 6% hydrochloric or sulfuric acid to remove them. The goods are then neutralized and rinsed. Milling is also a process of deliberately felting woolen goods to achieve an entangled web of fibers. Now this one is related to the processing of silk fibers. Silk fibers undergo the sequences of chemical operations such as degumming and bleaching. In raw silk filament is obtained from cocoon. There is 20 to 30% of protein called sericin. This and the other impurities make silk coarse and lack luster. The process of removing sericin or gum from the raw silk is known as degumming. And sericin is dissolved in hot water, especially that contains soap and alkali. And in order to prepare the synthetic fiber, the textile starts with desizing and then goes on to mild scoring, drying, heat setting, and bleaching. The scoring is mild because only limited impurities are present. The heat setting step stabilizes the fabric so that it does not shrink or distort during subsequent operations. The preparatory processes precede dyeing processes of yarn and fabric. So we can come to a conclusion that for cotton fabric, the main preparatory processes are singeing, desizing, scoring, and bleaching. And for woolen fabrics, it is scoring, milling, carbonization, and neutralization. For cotton fabrics, the main preparatory processes are degumming and bleaching. And for synthetic, desizing and mild scoring, drying, heat setting, and bleaching is required. Thank you.